All right, welcome back. In the midst of the coronavirus, we are getting some good things happening. Kevin Love, Blake Griffin, and Giannis Antetokounmpo have all announced they are donating $100,000 to benefit workers at their hometown arenas. And then today, a rookie stepped up, Zion Williamson. This is great. He announced he will pay the salaries of the arena workers in New Orleans for the next 30 days. That's presented by Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your one-stop shop for all your automotive needs. Michael Holley here with Tommy Giles. We'll check in with Sherrod Blakely in a second. But, Giles, I love this. I love this story. We were talking about it before this shutdown happened. We said the people who are going to be hurt the most are those arena workers, those parking lot attendants, those concession workers who are going to have sources of income go away.
I just think that the response that the NBA has had in general has been excellent. And you needed someone to step up and kind of be the leader in this situation. You know, at the NFL, well, everyone talks about them being the lead sport in this country. Well, the NFL's out of season, all right? So the NBA, I think, stepped up and did How many of us took this seriously before Wednesday night when the NBA announced that it was suspending its season? Seriously, I feel like that's when things actually changed in this country, where people actually that's when you saw supermarkets going crazy. Yeah, I think the NBA had 3 or 4 scenarios in mind. They were going to go to, I think it was just a matter of time, they were going to go to no fans and just playing the games. And then in the back of their minds, they said, no, wait a minute. If one of our guys tests positive, that's when we shut it down. What happens? Rudy Gobert tests positive. Then it's within minutes. They said we're suspending the season, and then other leagues followed. All right, so for more on this, let's bring in our guy. He's an insider, one of the best in the country, Sherrod Blakely. So, Sherrod, we were just talking about the NBA leading the pack on this. Would you say that the league has done a good job of just having some forethought of dealing with this pandemic?
Well, I don't think there's any question that the NBA put a lot of thought into just how they would proceed before things, transpired the way they did. I don't think it's a coincidence that, surely, as you pointed out, shortly after Rudy Gobert tested positive, they already had a plan in place on how they would respond to that. And that was not a knee-jerk reaction. That was something that, from what I understand, was well thought out, well in advance. It was one of the many options that they were considering. And once one of their players tested positive, it was pretty quick and obvious that their plan right away was to shut the league down, or at least suspend it for at least 30 days. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few days because, again, not every team in the NBA is going to have all their players tested. I was listening to the Orlando coach, Steve Clifford, earlier today talk about his players weren't going to be tested because right now they don't have anyone that has any symptoms, and they don't have their opponents have not shown any signs of contamination or anything like that. So this thing, by no means is this thing far from over, but it's good to see that the NBA at least had a plan of how to deal with it, and not in the moment and going forward. All right,
Sherrod, the other thing, too, to go back to what Michael read there in the beginning, the fact that you have some of these superstars and a rookie like Zion Williamson stepping up the way they are, I'm hoping, too, that sets a precedent across the sporting world where you've got these superstars stepping up and hopefully owners following suit, much like we also saw with Mark Cuban.
In the coming days, you're going to see more players, more owners, more people with obviously the financial means step up and really take care of the people who are most impacted by this. As you guys pointed out earlier, the folks who do security, the concession workers, the people that, make sure that we, and by we I'm talking about media, I'm talking about fans, have a experience and feel safe at these arenas and have the comforts of being in a world-class, environment and having an enjoyable time. They're the ones that are going to really take the hit when the arena's closed. So it's great to see players understand and show a real appreciation other than lip service for people who really make it so that the fans that come to see them play have a good time.
All right, Sherrod, I want to ask you about the Celtics. What are they doing during this time, and what's the plan? What's the build-up plan as presumably they come back for some type of playoff run?
Well, right now they're they're waiting to get test results this weekend, to see whether any of them test positive. And I think until that point happens, everything else is put on hold because depending on what those results are, that'll have a significant impact on what they do going forward. The NBA has given that 30 days where there won't be any games for 30 days, and I don't think it's a coincidence that when you look at the calendar, around the time that they could, in theory, get back on the floor is right around the time that the playoffs would normally start. So there's still discussion as to whether they would either have, a shortened end of the regular season and then go into the playoffs, or whether they would just go straight into the playoffs. Now, if that were the case, the Celtics would open up against the Philadelphia 76ers, who by that point would be very well rested, and that would be an absolute dogfight of a series. But again, there's no consensus as to whether that will be the plan, but certainly that is one of the options that the NBA is considering between now and the 30th.
Yeah, and I think
or the 30-day window, excuse me.
Right. I think a lot of people look at that, too, and as you bring it up, you're talking about Ben Simmons with a chance to get healthy. So if you have to face Philadelphia, you got to face a healthy team with Ben Simmons on the floor. On the flip side, though, might the Celtics also benefit with the fact that how many times have we actually seen this entire group healthy?
Then Kemba, too.
Yeah, Kemba comes back healthy. Jaylen Brown's healthy. You get all of them healthy as well. So is there something to be said about what Boston could look like?
Yeah, and that's the one, silver lining that I think it's a little early to start talking about it, but certainly if you are looking at the different teams who are going to be in the postseason, this does provide an opportunity for them to go into the playoffs, with their being able to be the best version of themselves and health not be as significant a factor. I like the Celtics' chances if you've got a healthy Kemba Walker, a healthy Robert Williams, healthy Jaylen Brown, and flip side with Philadelphia, a healthy Joel Embiid, and Ben Simmons. I still like the Celtics' chances. It will not be an easy series by any means, but I do believe if all parties involved are healthy and at full strength, I give the Celtics a slight edge, in part because of the home court edge.
All right, Sherrod, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much. We'll be checking back in with you to get the latest on the Celtics and the NBA. I mean, something's going to happen here, especially when they start to come back and figure out what their schedule is going to be.